Welcome to McAllister's Scouting Report, and this part is called Coach's Corner. Today, my guest is the head football coach at Iowa State University, Matt Campbell. Matt Campbell and I have been very good friends for a long time. I think we really got to know each other at Bowling Green. He was a GA, and then he moved to Toledo, and then he was the head coach at Toledo, and now he's I think in his sixth or seventh year at Iowa State. We still maintained a good friendship. I probably bug him more than he bugs me, but that's so be it. I have tremendous respect for him. I'm excited. He's going to talk for about 25 minutes on, how he sees recruiting, what he looks for in players. He's also going to talk about college students trying to get a college job. So I'm excited, and I've talked to him, and he's got me for 25 minutes. Thank you. Sit back and enjoy my video podcast. Matt Campbell, welcome to my show. How are you doing today?
John, doing great, and really appreciate you having me on.
Well, we're old friends. We go back a long ways. In fact, I'm trying to find it. I wrote about you when you played at Massillon Perry. I wrote about you a little bit. I remember you going to Pittsburgh, and I thought if you played really, really hard, it was good. But we'll get back to that. Matt, tell me about Iowa State right now. You got to sell me Iowa State. What are you going to say in a few sentences?
Well, I think it's the program that really came out of nowhere over the last 5 years. And when you watch our football team play, elite attitude, elite effort, elite toughness, and have had, really kind of burst onto the national scene and put ourselves in a chance game in and game out to play with anybody in college football. And that's a credit to our kids and certainly our coaching staff.
And it's now to the place where, and it has to be, where you expect that.
Oh, there's no
kids expect to win now.
There's no question, and I think we've paved the way to earn the right to be able to say that. And I think our kids have demanded that expectation to continue on and only get stronger as we've continued to build this program.
That's really good. I remember well when you were at Toledo, you went out there and you beat them. Either was it your house, your place, or there?
Yeah. At home, John, beat them in overtime.
Right.
And so great win for us at Toledo. That was our last year there, and had a great win at Arkansas, and then came home and beat Iowa State, which was great for our Toledo program.
I guess what I was referring to is that Toledo. I mean, you probably shouldn't have beaten a Power Five. Now let me finish. But they weren't very good, Iowa State, back then. And you have, what I'm saying? It was, and you guys have brought the program so far.
Yeah, and I think that's been a joy, John, to be honest with you. This is a program where, the history of it has maybe not been, there's other schools that could sell a better history, but I think what's been really enjoyable is to bring hope, to bring expectation, and to bring some excellence along the way to what Iowa State football is about now, not even just here in Ames, but I think really on a national stage.
Right. Okay, let's get away from that. Let's talk. Give me what went through your mind going to Mount Union. Now, it's a whole different era, but you transferred from Pitt. I don't care about that. But why was Mount Union so huge? How did Mount Union benefit you?
Well, I think first of all, John, for me, it was I was leaving a tremendous high school football program and played for a great high school football coach in Keith Wakefield, who, had such a profound impact on my life, not just as a player, but as a human. And, you went to the University of Pittsburgh at the time, and I think the older Matt Campbell knows he should have been looking for culture and the right fit in the recruiting process, at least for who I was at that point. And I think, when you say, why Mount Union for me, I think at a really tough time in my life, 19 years old, kind of searching for the right fit, Mount Union was that for me. Coach Karras, our defensive coordinator at the time, a gentleman by the name of Don Montgomery. And, I think that Mount Union tradition was just getting started. They had already had some success. There was great expectation. And I think on top of it, when I look back at it, we were able to have great success there, and that was awesome. But for me, it was funny. There was a sign, and we didn't have a whole lot of mottos and a whole lot of mantra at Mount Union, but there was that sign of faith, family, football. And I think at a critical time in my life, I'm really grateful because I feel like I found all those areas of my life through my experience at Mount Union: faith, family, and certainly football. And so much credit is Coach Karras never really wavered off of those things. Yes, he won a lot of games. Yes, he's a Hall of Fame coach, but his ability to demand the best of everybody around those three areas, I think, is profound and had a huge impact on me.
Oh my! Yeah, I think that's good. I guess I was. You didn't go to chopped liver school either, by the way.
Yeah,
that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay, and you and I became friends at Toledo. Well, Bowling Green as your GA, but let's go to Toledo because I really want to get more into helping kids and advice from you and things like that. I mean, you obviously you've had a really good program. You came through the system as an assistant. The amazing thing to me, Matt, is with so many guys that I study, guys like you, assistant coaches, they've started in smaller school programs. They played in, smaller school programs. And I think you learn so much. And I think guys work hard there. But that's a compliment to guys like Coach Karras and Wittenberg and places like that. The Finley, the Ashland. Yeah. And then guys are coming out there and doing really, really well as coaches. No longer is it Miami of Ohio. When I was a young coach, cradle of coaches, it has to be Mount Union.
Yeah.
Even high school coaches. There's so many of you Mount Union grads around. I mean, and doing a great job.
Yeah. And John, I think the credit there goes certainly to, you had to learn the game, and the coaching staff there not only taught you your position, but they also taught you an expectation and a standard of excellence in everything you did. And I think you to play there, you had to love football. There were a lot of guys on the team at that time. And if you wanted to play, if you wanted to be the guy that was being counted on, boy, you had to love it, and you had to study the game to be great at it. Right. And I think they taught so many of us that. And I think so many of us have, I know for myself, you feel like, man, can I give that back to young people today? Can I give young people an opportunity to feel somewhere that they're confident, they're safe, and yet they can come and chase their goals and dreams both on and off the field? And so I think I found that in my college experience, and I think I'm passionate about that. And I think all of the young men that went through that experience, whether it's high school or college today, I think they understand the value of making a difference in the lives of young people.
And there's a huge difference between liking football and loving football. You know that. And at your level, any level, there's a difference. Yeah, I love it, but there's real love at football. That's totally different. That's a whole different idea. What was recruiting like at Toledo, Matt? And I'm going to ask you, comparing it to Iowa State, what's recruiting like at Toledo? What did you look for in Toledo?
Well, I think one of the great things at Toledo is, we were recruiting the great state of Ohio, which was so great. I think for us, it was certainly centered around, doing a great job of keeping the best players in the state of Ohio home that we could win in the recruiting process. We were fortunate that you had, Detroit up in Michigan in that area, and then you certainly were over in Western Pennsylvania, and those were kind of the foundational pieces of it. But I think the thing, John, from a process standpoint, really hasn't changed even here at Iowa State. And, we haven't wavered because, to me, we've always looked for our kind of guys in the recruiting process. We look for.
I'm totally aware of that.
Yeah. For the right kind of fit. And I think we've done a great job, myself, our staff being together for as long as we have, of finding, positionally what are the things that we're looking for with each position group. But I think most importantly, culturally, is identifying young men that fit us. And for us, it's been three values that I think have been the standard of what we build our programs on, whether it's Toledo or here at Iowa State, is, man, recruit young men that have great character. We're not going to shortcut the process to get to the end result. The character piece has mattered. It mattered at the University of Toledo because we were at that time, we were what I would say was the shining star of the Mid-American Conference. And, we wanted to uphold that from a character standpoint.
Right.
And then also character of how we played on the field. We wanted to be the team that everybody looked on the videotape and said, man, that group of young men, they play harder than anybody. And, I think we've been able to carry those same characteristics here in Ames, Iowa. We're no pro sports teams here at Iowa State or in Ames in the state of Iowa. And so, man, there's high expectations on character and how you handle yourself on our campus, especially as we've grown as a program. And then, boy, I would hope when people watch our Iowa State team play every Saturday, they're like, man, those kids play as hard as they possibly can from the beginning of the game to the end of the game. And so I think that character standpoint was really big. I think guys that love football, you hit on it, John, and we say passion for the game of football. And, it's easy to love football right now. It's easy to love football as a high school football player. But I think something that gets, really gets hard in the recruiting process is people, and I think it's only intensified over the last 10 years, is in recruiting, people want to tell everybody how great they are. And they want to paint this great picture of their university and institution. But I think, John, and I'm a realist and probably sometimes the anti-recruiter in this is, man, this is really hard. Playing Division I football at any level, playing Division I football in the MAC or playing Division I football in the Big 10 or the Big 12, the fact of the matter of it is it's hard. And you want to find the place that's the right fit for you. And I think we've always looked for guys that can develop in our program, guys that can, I've always said, man, we can lose with those guys. They're passionate enough to go through tough and trying times because that's what college football is. There are going to be hard moments between 18 and 22 years old. And can you continue to grow and develop through them? And then I think the last thing for us has always been a young man that understands the value of academics and understands the value of the 18 to 22-year-old process of, it's not just about football. If you put all your eggs just in the football basket, you may let football use you and you not use football to get where you want to go in your life. So I think those common denominators of man, recruiting young men that have great character, that have a tremendous amount of passion for the sport of football, and then equally young men that understand the value of the educational experience between 18 and 22 years old. That's really how we built our Toledo program, and we really haven't drifted in terms of how we built our Iowa State program.
You just answered 6 questions for me. So, no, I got to do something else. No, I'm joking with you, obviously. Well, you and I over the years, and I'm going to stroke you a minute because I think I'm fairly good at what I do.
Yep.
And you and I have always agreed. You have Matt Campbell, Mark D'Antonio, are a couple of guys that have the ability to see guys, to read guys, to understand guys. A lot of coaches don't. A lot of college coaches don't really get into the depth of guys, watch the little things that make them special. And I think and can we work with those guys? And that's what you guys do. And I don't want to name a bunch of guys, but just certain coaches that I know that can see, Luke Fickle at Cincinnati. Luke Fickle, he's like, they just see that little something in them. And you've kind of answered that question because I think it's huge because, if it's 4th and 1 and you're leading by 25 points, yeah, this guy's quarterback or the running, he's going to get you the first down. But if you're down by 2 points and it's 4th and 1 and the game's on the line, will they make it? And I think those are so important for kids and everything like that.
Well, and I think it's important for kids today, John, because I think man, we've gone so far in this recruiting process, it's accelerated. And John, it as well as anybody that we've kind of in times we've lost our way, and unfortunately now in our profession, with what's going on out there, we look like instant gratification is so available, but yet we understand, those of us that really understand our game, we understand that it is growth and development, and it's the ability to fail and have the ability to come back from failing. I say all the time in the recruiting process, like, really nobody does care about your highlight film. It's great to have a highlight film. We're trying to get you as coaches to figure out, man, can you get to the position where you play consistently what your highlight film has the ability to show you play at your best? And I think that's where the character and the intangible piece really comes into play in the recruiting process. And man, how a guy goes to a camp, is he the first guy in line or the last guy in line? Man, how a guy comes to workouts every day, does he make his team better? All those things still matter. And I think those things are huge pieces of how we tried to build our program.
Well, Coach, and I will tell you, and I want to go on because I'm going to try to keep this to about 20 minutes. But, I go to camps and I watch that. In fact, I saw a player last year, no names mentioned, getting recruiting big time. And he's going to be a senior, but he was I don't like the one-on-one O-line, D-line drill. I think it's stupid. I don't like it, but you get things out of it.
Yeah.
Well, he got surprised on the first time up, and the defensive guy just mauled him. Because I think he got a little surprised. Well, he went to the back of the line and skipped two players, let guys go in front of him till he got. But boy, that scares me. What I'm saying. When you talk about camps, but that's so good. Let's go totally different now. Your program, and we've talked about. Hopefully people understand. What about walk-ons? Preferred walk-ons. I hear the big buzz is PWO, or this. It's like you've talked about, Matt. They'll say, Joey's going to Indiana University scholarship. No, excuse me. Joey's going to Indiana University, man, play football. Well, they don't tell you he was a PWO. Preferred walk-ons to me are the one thing you get is you report with 108 guys. After that, you're a walk-on. But tell me, give some short advice to walk-ons, what you expect. The same kind of thing?
I think our sport is certainly unique in that way. John, I think where things have changed, especially, when you talk, at least at the Power 5 level, is, man, there's so many resources for a young man that's on a football team at this level. And, whether you come in as a scholarship player or a walk-on, I think that the fact of the matter of a nutrition program, the fact of the matter of the academic resources, the fact of the matter of, the strength and conditioning process at that time, and I've said this, we at Iowa State, we carry 130 starting, in August, once we're able to get to that number. And, I think one of the things that is big is, in the good football programs across the country, it doesn't matter if you're a walk-on or you're a scholarship player, because the best players should be playing. And it doesn't matter if you're a freshman or you're a senior. And, I think one of the things about, and again, I think this is a little bit different regionally, is, based on the region you're in, where some of those opportunities can come into play. And you can certainly take advantage of, man, the academic resources, the nutrition program, the
For sure.
Those are a preferred walk-on opportunity that maybe are different than, going to some other programs. That is certainly a huge resource. And so I think no matter how you can get on that roster, sometimes if there is a spot and you're competitively looking for that opportunity, those certainly can be good situations today that maybe even 10 years ago, or when we were at, the University of Toledo, you're right, just the scholarship players maybe got some of the nutritional pieces and the walk-on guys couldn't, because you couldn't afford to do it.
Right.
Boy, now in some of these Power 5 programs, everybody's gets the same opportunity from a nutritional piece and from a strength and conditioning standpoint. Huge. And so I think there's positives, yes.
And both of those, nutrition and conditioning, are huge now. Nutrition's huge. Okay, yeah. I want to touch, Coach Campbell, on a couple more things, and we'll be done. Tell me about the transfer portal briefly. Okay, people that watch this, I think they need to know. If they don't, I don't want you so much your opinion of just what it is and everything.
Well, obviously the transfer portal is an opportunity for a young man now that, there are no transfer restrictions. Back in the day when I played and really up to 2 years ago, if you weren't happy with your situation at a school, you really had to think about, did I want to give up a scholarship and potentially transfer to another institution and have to sit out a year, especially
Right,
if it was Division I school to Division I school, sit a year before I got the opportunity to play. Where now, the NCAA is granted a one-time transfer exception for any young man to transfer from one school to another. And like you said, John, I know you're not looking for an answer of my personal thought on it. All I would say is I think for us as coaches is it continues to put the responsibility of culture and development,
right,
recruiting the right guys, and yet also from our end being authentic and true to who we say we are in the recruiting process. And so
right.
I do think there are some benefits on from both ends of it. I don't think all of it's bad, but I also think it's a situation that young people have to be aware of too, because you see a lot of guys that have fallen into the transfer portal and unfortunately are still sitting there and maybe gave up an opportunity of a free education or an opportunity at one of these great institutions where their academics, their nutrition, their strength, and all these great opportunities they've earned the right to have now have gotten taken away from them.
Yeah. Sometimes, the grass is green on the other side, but you still have to mow it, and you still have to, pull weeds out of it sometimes and things like that. So
Yeah. And,
it's
and
always
John,
good.
I think your point on that is for any young person or their family watching this is why it is so important to be diligent in the recruiting
Right,
process. For
right,
their end, man, it might not always be the shiniest school, or it might be not always be the biggest stadium, or what school wears Nike uniforms or Adidas uniforms. It should really be about the culture. It should be
right,
about the relationship with the people, because I think we all know that this still is a relationship business. This is still about, man, there are going to be really tough and
right,
trying times that are going to hit between 18 and 22 years old. And the reality is, you want to put yourself, we all do in life, we want to put ourselves around people that bring us up. We want to put ourselves around people that when tough times hit, we have the ability to grow and have the ability to become better from it. And I think that's where in this recruiting process, as parents and players, man, doing your due diligence on finding that right fit for you is so
right.
critical today.
I think enough, and kids will look at me, parents will look at me sometimes, Matt, and I don't think enough can be said about culture. You've mentioned that word a few times, and I tell people, I don't think it's the right culture for you. And boy, they just get like, and look at me.
Yeah.
But let's talk about one more thing. Uh, the, we talked about transfer podcasts. Let's quickly mention now. I'm a high school, I'm a college student, and I'm looking for a coaching. I want to coach college football.
Yeah.
Okay, what advice in a short time could you tell a player like that?
Well, I think first of all, this is still one of the great professions of all time.
Yeah,
It's an opportunity to, I think, where we've got distorted in the college football business is they're everybody, sometimes they get in this profession, or they want to get in this profession to gain either number one financial opportunities, or number two power. And
yeah,
unfortunately, what this is it's an opportunity to help give back and help young people, especially in the college experience, 18 to 22-year-old young people, chase their goals and dreams both on and off the field.
yeah,
And I think what my advice is number one is become great at your craft, so you're able to give that knowledge and wisdom to young people. I think still players today, they want to know, how can you help me become the best version of myself I can be? Number two, get in this profession for the right reason. 18 to 22-year-olds can sniff you out if you're about yourself, if you're about trying to get the next job, if you're about always trying to make the next move. I think what I found is the great coaches are the ones that love players, love, care, serve, empower the young people that they're with day in and day out. And I think that's what young people are looking for. And to be quite honest with you, I say this to our players all the time, and I would say this to any coach. Are you getting in this profession to try to be somebody else, or are you trying to get in this profession to do something? I think the people that have had great success in our profession have been on a mission to do something and have been on a mission to empower the lives of the people that they're around. I think the people that fail in our profession, they're trying to be somebody else. They're trying to act like somebody else act, or do it the some way somebody else did. I think the authentic, real people are the ones that have had great success.
I totally agree. And the other thing I would say is it's not so much where you work, it's so much who you work for.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of truth to that. It's who you work for and that can help you grow as well.
No question.
Coach Campbell, I appreciate your time. You have been a longtime friend of mine, and I really appreciate you taking the time to be on here.
Well, John, thank you for everything, and you mean the world to me, so I really appreciate you a ton, and thanks for all your support over the years.
Thank you very much, Coach. Thank you.